based on this book that has two letters, D and P. And yeah, we don't get a lot of teaching. I'll do it the other way.
This way?
The front of the tree should face the back of the hat.
Like this?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Why? Okay. Sorry for the distraction.
Okay.
That's alright.
So yeah.
Huh? Oh, oopsie. What?
Yeah. So we don't get any formal teaching, right? Unless you're in little Sunday school, then you get good teaching. You get good teaching of a good foundation, and then when you start growing up, it's all about finding your own way of faith and everything about this stuff. But then that's mainly and mostly, no, that's 100% your journey. That's your journey, right? But then it has to be complemented by what makes our faith our faith. Otherwise, it feels like you're alone on your journey. So this is the other part of that journey that may help guide your way if you feel like something's missing. So here's your teaching about the divine principle. Now it's called the original principle or universal principle. Okay? So this universal principle has many sections. But I want us to focus on this first chapter 1. Chapter 1, does anyone remember what it's called?
Principles of creation.
Yeah, the principles of creation. Because more than anything, it'd be... Oh, disclaimer. So I know this is supposed to complement your life of faith, and talking, when you teach this, you have to talk kind of on the assumption that you already believe in something. Or if you don't believe in God yet, the assumption is, for this one, and at least for the words I'm going to speak today, there's the assumption that God exists and you believe in a God. Okay? Okay? So if in your life of faith you're still a bit unsure, then it might not come as easily, but still, some other bits might be more, some other bits you might like to take on better than others. Okay? So yeah, what was I saying?
Principles of...
Oh yeah, so principles of creation, why everything was created, and then why we were created, and therefore, if we were created, we have a purpose to which we were created, and therefore, what is our purpose, and then how we can continue aiming for that, and then establishing something good, right? So that's the principles of creation, and that's what I want to focus on, and it will be a very in-depth focus. But I understand, so a lot of us already had education, and it's always reading. If you read the DP, it's coloured. It's always reading the red section really well and making you understand it to be able to teach it. Because the main, like I told you last week, the aim of your faith is to be able to spread it. Because if you're stuck within you and stagnant, it's a waste and it's just getting murky and useless. So you need to spread it. And so, wow, I just lost my train of thought. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I want to start with the first section, which is relationships, subject and object relationships. I want it to be a bit more practical. So actually, you probably know much of this already, a lot of this already, but it's just that the associations didn't make sense in the beginning, or it's just that it wasn't so apparent that this means this, but probably, most likely, you already can do many of the things I will tell you. It's just now you understand how it works, or the basis behind it kind of thing. Okay? So, subject-object relationships and give and receive, or give and take action. Give and take action. Who knows what it is? Nobody? Nobody feels confident to say I know? Okay. Give and take action. I'm going to shout a statement, and this is an assumption that we just have to make in the beginning. Okay. Give and take action cannot exist outside the realm, or a good give and take action, not really good, just itself, cannot exist outside the realm or the environment of true love. That's a statement I'm just going to throw out there, okay? Why? So, to know what give and take action is, you need to know how relationships work. And how relationships work. How do relationships work? If someone wants to let me know. How?
There's lots of things.
What do you need? What's the basic building blocks?
Good communication.
Communication. If you are communicating, what does that mean?
A common basis.
Before common basis, what does that mean for a
Two
relationship?
people.
There are two people. Okay? So for a relationship to work, there has to be two people, an A and a B. Okay? I'm just going to write points. I can't write all of it. So there has to be A and a B. And this is where we get into concept 1, subject and object relationships. Okay? Subject-object relationships. Subject, who knows what the subject is?
Person giving.
Yeah, the person giving. Okay, the person who initiates. And then therefore the object is the person who receives. Just because you have a person giving and a person receiving, just because one's giving and one's receiving, that's not what give and receive action's about. That's a poor shortcut. Okay? So you have someone who gives and someone who receives. What is the attitude of, actually, before that, in any relationship, for example, me and you guys, or between you and each other, or you and your siblings, and you and your parents, do you think those relationships were built in a day? No, right? So relationships take time. And this is important. So, give and receive relationship is also a relationship, and the relationship takes time. And if the relationship takes time, it means there needs to be continuous investment. Now, let's move on to subject and object. What is the attitude of a subject? Someone who invests, what attitude do you think you have? Is that hand up?
Unconditional.
Okay, it can be unconditional. Yes. The giver can be unconditionally given. And then this is where, jump into a situation. Okay, Abigail. When you make a friend, or Have you been the person who wanted to make that friendship? Mostly, right? Okay, that's good. What did you have in mind when you approached that person?
Just like, I'm not sure.
Not sure? Did you feel anything? First of all, did you want to make friends with that person?
Yeah.
But then why? Why would you just randomly go up to someone and say, oh, I want to make friends with that person?
Is there a nice person maybe?
Okay, because they're a nice person. So as the subject partner, or the person who wants to initiate that friendship, right? You go to someone thinking they could be a nice person, or you go to someone thinking, oh, this one could be a good relationship. So you initiate. So your father said this, for someone, or when someone initiates something, when the subject partner chooses to initiate, when they see that relationship, they see only a good outcome from it. Okay? So someone chooses, repeat, someone chooses to initiate into that relationship because they only see a good outcome from it. So when Abigail went to the person who she doesn't know she could be a friend yet, it's just because there could have been something good from it, so she initiated. It's the sense that you need to see the outcome is good, and that's something you want to invest in. So you invest in things that you can see or you hope to see might, in some sense, benefit you. Okay? It's good. Because it is good. So now you have the person from the initiated point of view. What about the object partner? This one's a bit harder. What does the object partner feel? Go on, I'm going around. Have you been on that end? Like the object, the one receiving, someone who comes up to you. And then when some random person comes up to you, how do you feel?
Maybe gratitude.
Gratitude? Okay. I would honestly feel like, why you come to me? You feel a bit wary, no? In the beginning, I guess you can feel different, everyone feels different things. I would feel wary. One woman feels gratitude. What do you feel?
Well, it depends what scenario. Like, if it's like a social scenario, I'll be like, oh, I'll be open to. If it's like on the street, I'll be like,
Yeah. Okay.
It depends.
Context dependent. Yeah. So when that is just saying the object partner is allowed to feel anything. They don't have an attitude. They just seeing what are you up to. Okay? So that means really a lot of the relationships beginning is the subject partner. This subject partner is so special. And now we need to go from, we have a subject partner and an object partner. So how do you reach give and take action? And I told you things take time, okay? So, and there's no shortcut between A and B. How do we get from A to B? One. Object, establishment. Two. You need to form a common base. Okay. What does common base mean? Elizabeth. When you develop a friendship with someone, oh no, let's just continue the story. So someone says hi to you, okay? Why do you want to give back to them? Or why do you want to meet them for another time? Why, if someone says hi to you, and okay, that's stage one, they said hi, they came up to you and said hi, or you went up to them and said hi, okay, a random person, because you want to make friends with them. Why would you want to meet them a second time?
To get to know them better. And to more.
But why would you want to get to know them better? What happened the first time?
Maybe they were the most person attractive.
Okay. That is what you went into. What if you were the person on the other side going, why are you coming? Why are you coming to me? Again, because the next person's chat didn't make sense, but okay, yes. Okay, sorry, do you mind telling me your name? Kevin, if you are in that stance or situation, why would you want to chat to the same person twice?
To know better.
To know them better. Why do you want to know them better? What happened the first time? It's okay. It could be what she said is they were really nice. You came in and you thought one's really nice and the other thought the other's really nice. There's something to relate to with this person. You want to get to know them better because there's something to relate to, and you're like, oh, maybe I want to get to know them a bit better. Or maybe you're saying, oh, they're quite interesting. But the thing is, they're interesting because they're hitting targets that you can relate to. There's your common base. You're forming a common base, right? But the thing is, your common base, now you have to learn two new definitions: unity and unison. Okay? Who knows the difference between them? Nobody wants to hazard a guess.
I guess unity is them being connected, and unison is all of them acting or kind of being the same.
Yeah, essentially that. When you're united, if I do something, you tell you without me telling you, you know what I'm doing, because the purpose you have in mind and the way you practice to achieve it are the same. They don't even just complement each other, they act towards the same thing at the same time. When we work in unison, I can work my way and you can work your way. Doesn't mean we can have the same purpose, but we want to do it in our own ways. But those ways don't negate each other. Those ways don't reject each other. What's the word? Clash. Okay? So you have unison and unity. Now when you have a common base, the first thing you do when you develop your friendship or you develop your family relationship is, even family relationships you fight, and normally you stay in the family because you're blood tied. You can't really leave. This is your home. But those kind of things, they're all superficial, right? And what is superficial or what is not set in stone can be easily washed away. It's not grounded, so it can fly off. Okay? So what you have achieved in common base in number one is unison. You can work together because you have a nice common base. You have something to relate to with each other. But you know, if that thing were to not be there anymore, if you didn't have that thing in common with your friend anymore, or that thing in common with your family anymore, would you stay? Probably not. Because there's nothing to keep you there anymore. So then, when you develop your friendship, you need to find something more grounded in commonality. Okay? It needs to be grounded. It cannot be superficial. So when you develop your relationship, you need to find something that is not superficial, something that's deeper, something that connects you on a level where you can say, even if it changes tomorrow, even if externally it could be their personality, it could be their way of thinking, the way of acting, the way they behave, the way of speaking. If that changes tomorrow, likes and dislikes changes tomorrow, you would still be there for them. Then your common base is grounded. Okay? So once your common base is grounded, okay, you have a subject, someone giving, and now you have an object, someone receiving, and now you have a reason to stay. You have a reason to stay. How long does that take in a relationship? Pardon?
Depends.
Depends. How long would it take in your relationship, would you say? Did it take in some of your relationships?
Yeah, to establish a common base.
Of one that's grounded, not one that's just you two sticking together.
I guess longer than shorter.
What an answer. Longer than shorter. Yeah, no, but it's true. It's true.
Years.
It's not.
It would take years.
Yeah, it's not days, weeks. He's saying it's not days to weeks.
Hello.
Come in.
Who are you?
So it's not days, weeks, hours. It doesn't just happen like this. Even stage 2 takes months or maybe years. For me, family took a bit of years. Even family takes years, and they're people you stick with from day 0, right? Parents take a bit of while to get used to, because in the beginning you're okay because you're just following them. When you're a teenager, you want to rebel against them because you feel like you have your own way and you know everything. And then finally you understand how much they mean to you, and you can relate to that. The same with friendships as well. Friendships might feel like, oh, you get to know each other over a few weeks actually, and then, oh, you're a really good friend. But sometimes friends can betray, or friends can turn a different way, depends on the friends you have, right? But even stage 2 takes a long time. So then this will relate later when I tell you about, for example, mind-body unity. Mind-body unity is another relationship. And it doesn't just happen, you don't just cultivate it, you don't just develop it over a condition, like a 21-day condition. It's going to take years. That's why even some of your parents, my parents, the elder brothers and sisters, oh my gosh, that's a word. The elder brothers and sisters also have still, you could say that they haven't developed that same mind-body unity at the point where they've given and taken unconditionally. They haven't achieved this give and take action. That's the ultimate goal. So, let's go to stage 3. Stage 3, after common base, you have reciprocal relationship. Reciprocal relationship means now the other person who you saw was the object partner, the initial receiver, feels comfortable with you, right? Feels comfortable with you. So now they want to do something for you. They're now beginning to assume you were the initiator, and often most of the time you are the initiator in that relationship. But now they're warming up to you, and actually they feel like they want to do something for you. They're taking your position. They're starting to become the initiator like you are. But it only works if you stand as someone who wants to receive it. Because you can't have 2 subject partners. There's no such thing as 2 pluses that can stick together in a magnet. 2 pluses repel, or 2 minuses repel. You need a plus and you need a minus. So when your friend finally warms up to you and wants to give something to you, it's only right that you receive it back, right? And then you feel so good. Because you tried to invest in this relationship and you see the outcome that you invested for in the beginning. You saw something good in this relationship, so you started it. And actually it came back to you, something good did happen. Okay? You've developed a reciprocal relationship, yay! So now, how do you get from full to final? Give and receive action. Give and receive action. What is the difference between reciprocal relationship and give and receive action? Who's after Kevin?
Calixto.
Calixto. What do you think? What is your opinion?
What's the question again?
What is the difference between reciprocal relationships, where the other friend is beginning to open up, and this give and receive action?
I mean, there's like give and receive when you both are doing it. You both are giving each other like gifts or doing stuff together.
Yeah.
And I think reciprocal is just like when one person gives another one like something else.
Almost. So he's essentially there. Reciprocal, the other person can give. The other person can give. So if it was me and Hannah, if I gave everything to her, she's beginning to open up and give to me, right? But she's reciprocating. But not all the time. Even receivers when both of them equally can stand as a subject partner. At any point, either one doesn't mind being the initiator. So at this point, the person begins to feel comfortable, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will stand in a nice position like not a dominant, but a more confident position to always be giving 24/7. At this point, now they do feel that way. So actually, A and B have equal value. S and O have equal value. Okay? So what that means, there's no such thing as S and O anymore. No one is a designated S subject and no one is a designated object. S becomes the O and the O becomes the S. They're always interchanging. Right? There's no one stuck in any position. So when you have really good friendships, when you have really good relationships with people, you know it's good because you can be the one giving and they can be the one giving. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to worry about anything. And you don't have to feel bad for always being on the receiving end because you know they want to and they know you want to. Just invest completely. Now this investing completely, what does that mean? I touched upon it last time and this is what I mean. If someone were investing just for the idea that they will one day receive, then you've invested with the expectation that something is to return. Okay? Question mark. Investing with expectation. Okay? Investing with expectations. If you invested with the expectation that something is to come back to you, it's not the same as give and receive action. It's not, I want to offer myself to, what's her name? Olivia. I want to offer myself to Olivia, and I'm going to keep doing it until she gives something back to me. It feels like it's a self-sacrifice, but really, is it? It's self-sacrifice with the hope that you will receive something in the end. And so then, the relationship is not established when you receive something in the end. Because in the end, you are not an actual subject partner. You are just the receiver who gave, hoping that you would receive again. Okay? So you are like over-investing. As in, if you're playing bets. And then you play bets because you hope you get something out of it in the end. What happens when you don't get something out of it in the end? What?
Feel bad.
Yeah, you feel frustrated, right? You invest in something and then that money does not multiply when it returns to you, it actually becomes a minus, then you feel frustrated in the end. So that's the saying. When you invest in something, with the expectation you feel you want something back, but it doesn't come back. You didn't invest because you invested wholeheartedly. You didn't invest because you invested with the expectation of nothing. With the basis of true love. You invested because you wanted something, so it was selfish. You weren't an investor, you weren't really a subject partner. You were just an object partner who started with 0, gave something, and wanted a plus in return. Okay? But that doesn't work in relationships. So now we need to know what makes a subject partner a truly subject partner. Is what I said in the beginning. This is why give and take cannot exist outside the environment of true love. Because true love is the initial investment that is self-sacrificing. As I mentioned last week, true love, as True Father explains, is like when a mom nurses her baby for 18 years until they're an adult. When you're 18, do you think you're going to say, or do you think your mom will tell you, I've nursed you for 18 years, pay me back for your school, your food, your sleep? Will she say that?
Yeah.
No. No, right? She will never say that. That is an investment without expecting anything in return. That is, she was such a good subject partner to you, and she's just waiting for you to want to feel comfortable in that relationship so you can then give back as much as she's given back, she's given to you in those 18 years. And then you can say, I've established a give and receive relationship with my parents. Okay? Same with friends and siblings, everything. Every relationship matters. Even this one that you can't see, the one between your mind and your body. All of them have that same beginning, same outcome. And then what is true love? Okay, this is where I want to define it a bit more. And how it relates to give and receive action in relationships. So, True Father always uses 3 words, or 4 words, when he describes true love.
Absolute, unchanging, eternal. Is it 4?
Unique.
Yeah, unique. Absolute, unique, eternal, and unchanging. Okay, and when you have a give and receive action, both of them, if you're being a subject partner, right, you're giving true love, and they're giving back true love. It's a sacrificial love. It's absolute, unique, unchanging, eternal. Remember those. Absolute, unique, eternal, unchanging. So when your relationship is like this, when true love is like this, it means absolutely, it doesn't matter what external factors might come to influence that relationship. Your love, your ground, your common base, your grounding in love is so strong, it won't be influenced. Right? So, your relationship with whoever, it doesn't matter if rain comes, or if they forget you, or if they abandoned you, or if some good things happen too. That love for them is absolute. That relationship grounding is so absolute that they will always come back and want to love you. And you will want to love them. It's unique because the love you give the love you give someone is given tailored to the person you're loving. So you don't just love, love, yeah, it's expressive, right? Love is an expressive action, and you tailor it to the person you want to feel loved. So I wouldn't love, for example, my parent and my sibling in the same way. Because parents are your parents, their love is more that way. And it's more loyal and supportive and helpful to them. But when you're with the sibling, it could be an older sibling, a younger sibling, it's more encouraging and developing. You want them to mature and grow and do these things, right? So you say that's a vertical love. The one to your parent is vertical, the one to your siblings is horizontal. But even horizontal, the one to your siblings and friends, also horizontal, but they will be different to the one from your wife in the end, your spouse, husband or wife. Okay? So that's unique. It's unique because it's tailored to the individual. It's eternal. Why is it eternal? I told you a definition True Father gave us about true love. True love is always investing so that the other person can be better. And if they can always be better, if no one can reach a cap, if it can always be better, then you'll always be investing. Because you always want them to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. Okay? So in a relationship where you want the other person to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, there's your eternally existing love. And why is it unchanging? For the same reason. If you want only for their betterment, if you want only for their growth and maturation, then you will be unchangingly giving. Right? So it's always absolute, unique, eternal, and unchanging. And then you have give and receive action. Does this make sense? Pause. Does this all make sense? Yeah? Yeah?
Yo.
Question.
Yeah. What's the difference between absolute and unchanging?
Good question. Absolute is uninfluenceable. That's what I described it as. Unchanging is consistent kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Sure. Alright.
But in absolute,
Yeah, I understand, but are they not the same? Because if your love is absolute, then it's not going to change.
yeah, these all are interconnected. But
Yes.
if it's absolute, it's eternal as well, because it's an unchangingly forever on. And if it's absolute or unique, I guess is the only one that's unique. So, yeah,
Thank you.
that's this part. This is a subject-object relationship. I'm pretty sure I had more run-ins. So I think that's the basis of this part. Okay, yeah. So, why does it relate to unity? It relates to unity. So, at give and take, why is only at give and take you become united? Because when you give and receiving, when you're changing in subject and subjects, subject, object becomes subject, these kind of things. When you're interchanging, you are interchanging based on your common base, which is the really deep common base, that true love, right? So your purpose is the same in your relationship. All you want in this relationship is to see good outcome. And how? Because your purpose is to truly love them with all of these 4 attributes. Okay? And with all of these 4 attributes, if you truly love them, and if that person has the same purpose, and you're practicing it in the same way, because true love is practiced with these 4 attributes. You're practicing it in that way, not identical per se, because of course there's uniqueness. True love, for the same purpose of true love, then you are doing the same, you're united. You're doing the same thing. It doesn't matter what happens, how you sway, and it's not that you'll ever clash, because no matter what, you'll be receiving or you'll accept, and you'll be giving unconditionally. Now here's the thing. I'm going to give you a new scenario. Give and take action. So this is the easy part, because now this is the concept. This is just conceptual, but you know, real life is not like this. If I then go to Brendan and say, Brendan, I told you to put your socks away. What emotion am I expressing? Frustration, annoyance. Okay? How did you feel if someone did that to you?
Annoyed.
Annoyed as well, right? When I'm annoyed, am I expressing what position am I in? Subject or object?
Subject.
Why?
Because you're the one initiating, or because it's given first.
Yeah, I am the one initiating. What were you saying? Giving anger. So we're giving a negative emotion. So when we're annoyed, remember I told you, this annoyance, no, what happened to the bet? The bet was the person betting a subject partner person? Yes, you were.
I think so.
The person betting is the one investing, right? But they're investing with the expectation that something is returned. So when I shouted at him, when I got annoyed, I wanted to invest in this, but in a bad way, so that I'm doing it only if I expect. The relationship I established in this moment with the dialogue we had is, I'm only having this dialogue because I want him to put his socks in the right place. If he doesn't put his socks in the right place, I'm going to continue doing this. Right? So it's an investment that you made with the dialogue that you started, with the hope that he does what I want. If he does what I want, I'll be happy, of course. And this relationship can grow on the foundation of I get what I want. Okay, so I'm only happy if I get what I want. So am I really that subject partner in the realm of true love? No. Because I've done it with the expectation of something. I've done it with the idea that I want something in return. And if I don't get what I want in return, then this relationship is gone. Then there's no relationship between me and him. All I will do is resent him, or all I will do is always be angry with him, or just not trust him. Okay? So the relationship breaks until it happens again, and maybe I want to throw another one at him when he tries. I feel like, okay, I'll give him another chance, and he doesn't do it. I throw the relationship back up, but in the wrong way, and it breaks again. There is no standing ground to this. Why? Because the person, me, I threw the lifeline, I gave or I invested with the hope of something in return. So negative emotions, when investing in the presence or while wearing a negative emotion, often is not investing with true love. So in that sense, negative emotions cannot coexist with true love. Okay? Negative emotions cannot coexist with true love. It doesn't matter if I'm annoyed or angry. Some would say sad, not really sad, but depressed, yes. Now, depressed, it doesn't feel like it. So there's this active anger and annoyance is an active selfishness or an active negative emotion, let's say. I won't say selfishness, backtrack that, retract. But then depression, also a negative emotion, but it's a passive one. So you don't think it's necessarily bad, but in the end, is it really good? So, I gave you the expression of the anger one. So how does the depressed person feel like it's not a subject partner? When you're sad or when you're depressed, remember, true love is giving and sacrifice, or giving, yes, in sacrifice, so just unconditionally. When you stand in the depressed person, often is that it's hard to explain. Maybe you feel unmotivated. You feel like you don't want to do anything. You feel lack of energy. You feel tired, and so then you don't feel the want to give. It's okay. You don't have to be the subject partner. Okay, even if you're the object partner, though. When someone gives to you, because it's often a passive negative emotion, when someone gives to you, maybe you cannot feel it, because your calibration has gone so low, it's hard to begin to accept the things around you, it's hard to actually interact with them, okay? So normally we're all up here, and then when you really feel down, you begin to feel down here. Now when you're down, you close up. It means you're building the wall around you to cover yourself, okay? And protect yourself. It's a protective mechanism. And when it's a protective mechanism, this is why we call, in medicine, why we differentiate sadness and, for example, anxiety is called, the full name is general anxiety disorder or depressive disorder. It becomes a disorder when, or one of them I won't mention, but one of them, the other one is when it begins to affect daily functioning. And functions of daily living include, functions of daily living include your education, your employment, other things like that, daily activities, maybe doing the washing, the cleaning, the dressing, but most importantly the relationships, okay? So when it becomes a disorder, when we say it's a disorder, it begins to affect your daily relationships. What that, you can see then, when you become to such a low state, actually it becomes really hard to maintain a relationship. You will never give for the purpose of giving because you yourself are in a stressed response. This is not for you to avoid depression, and this is for you to try to feel the person's heart. Because the only way that you can, as an object partner or as a subject partner, the only way that you can help them is by recalibrating them. When they're angry, they're going to give and lash out to you. So the only reason, as a subject partner, you stand and just give to them, but you don't give by active giving, you need to give by passive receiving. And then receive all of their venting, and they come down. But when they're depressed, they're down here. And that's why you need to help them overgive. It's not a bad thing because you're doing it sacrificially anyways. But you need to help them and help them recalibrate up here. Then they can stand in a position where you can stand again on equal plane. When they're on equal plane, you can develop your relationship from A to B or 1 to 4 and establish a give and take relationship as you were doing. Okay? So different emotions. Sadness itself is not a bad thing. People feel sad because this is what I say anyways. If you ever feel sad or if you feel crying, it's because true love was present. Why? Because it hurts so much, but you wanted to love them so much. You wanted them to be good, better, or develop, or improve so much that you want to withstand the pain to love. So when there is crying, when there is tears, true love was present, is what I say. Because if you don't care about them, you won't cry for it. Or if you don't care for a situation, how momentous or how amazing the situation is, true love, crying wouldn't be present. Okay? So negative emotions cannot exist with true love, but true love can recalibrate someone who is in a negative emotional state. Okay? Okay, and that takes a lot of effort. Because imagine someone shouts at you, right? Youngjin. Imagine all I did was shout at you and just want you to do things for me. At some point, you just snap back at me. Youngjin, you never do this. Oh, come on, Youngjin. Oh, why are you always like this? If I kept doing this, you want to snap at me. So one day, your emotions just continue to eat your emotions. You eat them. They have to blow up. So that's where actually this is really hard because in a conceptual understanding, just by thinking, it's easy. And then by thinking, you can say it as easily. Like, oh yeah, I can give and receive easily. I can give love as much as I want. And yeah, you can say it as easy as you heard it. But then life takes you on turns, okay? Life is full of emotions because God made us emotional beings. Therefore, to maintain that even with the sway of the emotions, then you really get to give and take action. And that's why give and receive action of any relationship development takes time. Because you need to discover those situations, right? You need to wait until that person gets angry, or that person gets sad, or that person gets annoyed or irritated. You need to wait for those and see, can you deal with that in that moment? Can I truly love them, stand in a position to give? Yes. That's all of it for give and take action, I think. Give and receive action. Was that helpful? Was that understandable, the last bit? Was this emotional? I know this can be difficult. Is this okay? Back there, was it okay? Was it okay? Any questions?
Any questions?
And if you don't mind, does anyone not mind? You can, I want to say something to help us. There's a bit of, to enable us to have a bit of more grasping on the situation itself, but yes. I want to say something a bit more. Not on give and take. This is finished. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. The DP. That's it. Let me ask a general question. What is the point of the Bible to Christians?
It's a guide on how to live life, on how to become the best self you can establish a relationship with God.
It's a guide to help you become better, in short. What is the DP to us?
Book we need to read.
A book we need to read. Does it feel like a guide to people?
Yeah.
It feels like a guide, that's good. What about the Bible to us? Does it feel like the same guide?
A more understandable guide.
A more understandable guide? And then, so anyways, those are scriptures. And those scriptures are God's word. And it's only God's word that helps us bring us back to God. Right? So then, I think this stuff you do know, but I just wanted to emulate it. I should have prefaced the talk with this. The word. Okay? So, we have the word. And for us, it's our universal principle. It should be the Bible as well. Yes. And then for other people, like for Islam, it's the Quran, Jews and Torah, like this. But what about for Adam and Eve? Oh, where's the word to them?
The commandment.
Where's the word?
Yeah.
God's
It said
commandment.
commandment.
What's that?
God's love.
God's commandment.
God's commandment not to eat.
Everything that he said.
Everything that he said. Okay. So, actually, Uncle Aja gave this talk a bit, but I wanted to elaborate on that a bit more towards you guys. So when you learn the DP, I think, anyway, it was for me, so just this is why, it was for me in the beginning, which is why I want to express it just in case. When we learn the DP, it feels like we have to copy what's in the DP. Who feels like that? Nobody. Damn, so it was just me. It often feels like we have to copy what's in the DP. Right? And then when we copy what's in the DP, for example, that's why this 3 blessings, for example, is slightly, no, it itself is amazing, but our approach to it can be quite fast. As in, that's why maybe the goal might be, I need to achieve mind-body unity. And I just mentioned, give and take action, especially between these two, take time. And then, just because you're almost 18, you're thinking about the blessing. Again, the relationship between these two takes time. So how is it that if this takes time, you're ready to have a horizontal relationship with another person? Okay? So this one takes time. And for them also this one takes time. So then after this one takes time, when this one is almost ready, then you can start thinking about this horizontal one, right? But then no one thinks about the last one. There's always the second one, and then the last one's a bit, how do I do this? So then with the idea of, oh, I need to copy, you do what you can, but then when you can't understand how to do other ones, it's like you don't do, or you try to invest in understanding to do. So how does someone become a god of creation, or how does someone have dominion over creation? How does someone form a full position family, all of that stuff with creation? It's a bit weird. That's why, that's one point. And the second point is, the reason we have faith is because we need to return to God. But Adam and Eve were already with God. They were living in the midst of God, so did they need faith? No, they didn't need faith. didn't need faith because they were in the midst of God. What does that mean for you guys then? Does that mean you can be in the same position as them?
Yep.
Yet why?
Well, eventually, but you
Why
need to,
eventually?
because we're not with God directly. You still need to establish that relationship like they have at the beginning first, before you're at the point where you can say, I don't need faith anymore. But for now, I think we're all not in that position.
Mm. Okay. That's good. That's it. They didn't need faith, they were in the midst of God. We are slightly apart from God. That's why God's waiting for us to come back. And actually, I'll get into that. Maybe another time I'll get into that. So then what to Adam and Eve was keeping them in place? God needed to teach them the ways, like we need to be taught the ways to how to grow up and mature and become good people. For us, it seems like it's there to teach us to return to God, but actually it's also there to just, if the fall didn't happen, for example, it's also there to help us become back to normal. It's also there to help, like what Adam and Eve did. It's just that we didn't understand. I think it's just that Adam and Eve didn't understand fully the word. Because for them, do you know what the word was? Creation was the word. When God created based on his principle. Okay? His principle is the word we live by, and then it's all encapsulated in a book called the DP. Right? So for them, God created with the same principle that's in the DP, he created creation. So actually, if Adam and Eve lived in harmony with the creation and really began to establish that last point of being an owner of the creation around them, then they begin to understand actually how does God want us to live, how does God want us to mature. They would see the animals in the world and go, the animals first mature, then they express love with each other. That's so amazing. And then when they have children, they care for the children with such a self-sacrificing love, like how bears or whatever animals, chickens, when they lay eggs, they don't want to let the egg die, crack or anything. They will try to chase off, even though they know they might die, the egg they want to protect with their life. They were supposed to see these things and understand Adam's meant for Eve and Eve's meant for Adam. Okay? They're meant for each other as husband and wife. But they didn't see that, so they fell. But then over time, we disconnected. We completely disconnected. So God was not there to teach us, or the creation, He was not there to be able to harmonize with creation because there was no God intervening to help that out. So then instead, we got commandments because we needed to follow something. It's easier for us to follow something than for us to be able to receive something or to be able to teach something. So they got commandments to live by. If you do this, then naturally you would become like that. But you know, they got commandments to help guide them back to a position where they were with God. So for them, their aim was to unite with the Word. Okay? For them, their aim, our aim is to unite with what we're getting taught. AKA, that's why we feel like we need to emulate the similar principle. But for Adam and Eve, it wasn't copy completely. It was to learn from what the creation teaches them. And when they learn from what creation teaches them, become a person that matures and that they can finally establish rights, eligibility to own them. Because they've learned everything they can from creation, they've learned and absorbed, and they're able to stand in a position mature enough to be able to say that they have dominion over the creation. It's having a dominion over the word because you practice it in your life. Okay? So actually, this is a difficult time for us. And this is what I wanted to explain. Adam and Eve, so this is God's creation, right? How many days was it? Yeah. So yeah. So 6 creation and then 7. 7, we were waiting for Adam and Eve to grow up. Let them, they were supposed to learn from the word, the creation was the word to them. And when they learn from the word, grow up and mature. And then when they have matured because of the word, they can gain dominion over it because they practice it. Their life is an emulation of the word. Okay, they practice it. Not just copy or not just understand or not just revise it. They completely emulate it. This is a bit about what we have to learn now. So this was the start. Seven days, and then unfortunately we fell. Okay? And so Trumana has been calling this a wilderness course because all we have been doing is trying to get back to this point. So then, what is this point? This is the point where finally creation, we start from where we left off before, and then we can continue living for eternity. Okay? So everything else we've been doing, God gave us the word through many words so that we could unite with this word. This is what True Father says a lot. We need to unite with the word. This was the providence of, we needed to restore that. Okay? Get back to original position. Restoration. But actually, we're here now. So all of these events, this is just the beginning of the explanation. But all of these events that have been happening in the past few years is for this. And finally, in 2013, January 13, what happened? Foundation Day. True Mother could establish Chen, which is the Garden of Eden. She could establish the realm of Chen, and at that point, everything returned back to where it started from. And so then, the beginning is now the end, because God is an eternal being with the beginning and the end, or Alpha, Omega, beginning, first and last. God's creation must also be of the same attributes, the beginning, the end, Omega and Alpha and Omega, first and last, right? It's as if this shouldn't have happened. We've become at the beginning and we'll continue. We should continue this way. It doesn't look like it when you look outside in the world. That's for another explanation. But yes. And so when we need to look at ourselves, it's not a time anymore to just unite with the word. We don't just copy the word. Even when we read the DP, it's not there for us to just copy aimlessly. Actually emulate. See what it's trying to tell you and emulate it. That's what I wanted to tell you with the give and take. Relationships. How do you actually practice it rather than know it, the concept in your head? And I want you to continue for this for eternity. Pass the tradition down so it can keep going. Okay? That's what I want to say.
Thank you.
Does this last bit make sense? Or was it a bit difficult?
No,
Was it? You know, I don't know if now it's just like, But yeah, hopefully it was good. You can always ask questions to one of us if you need. Yeah. That's it. Thank you, Manbok.
Thank you, Manbok.